so much for this day and this opportunity. As we step into a new school year, may you guide our choices and help lead us along the best path. Help our students to be careful to resist Satan and be careful of peer pressure, and give our teachers and staff discernment to know what's right. We come to thee in prayer, asking you to continue to be with our colleague and our friend, fellow board member, Mr. Kenny Atkins, and his family as he continues to recover. Be with them, give them strength. Be with all the citizens of this community. And thank you for your constant presence in all of our lives. Be with the leaders of this community. Pray that we will make decisions in the best interest of all of our citizens, and that most of all, it will be pleasing in your sight. These and other blessings we ask in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. At this time, I need approval of our agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Davis. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the consent agenda all it has in there is the July 8th meeting. The minutes for it. I'll entertain a motion for that. Motion made by Ms. Aver. Second by Mr. Ross. Of course, there is no discussion on that. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we've been asked by Ms. Mays to put her on the agenda. She has asked to speak on 3 different topics. Those topics are Board of Education discrimination, Board budget, and Board retaliation of past actions. So this time, Ms. Mays, you can come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
I understand. Good afternoon. My name is Katina Mays. I'm not here because it's easy. I'm here because what is happening in our schools is wrong, and silence would make me complicit. Our director of schools, Dr. Smith, and some board members have engaged in actions that are not just and ethical. They are discriminatory. 3 represented principals, especially older employees, have been targeted. Jobs have been dissolved, salaries have been taken without warning, and retirements manipulated to push people out. One principal was stripped of bus routes, forcing children onto an unsafe route. When he's not on that route, it is unsafe. And we have a letter from a principal to prove that. Is that what we are calling putting kids first? At Wyville Elementary School, Core Civic and the pastors of that community have to replace their blinds this year and supply supplies for the children, not the school. They had to spend over $7,000 to buy basic supplies for these children and the blinds, and that's shameful. And this discrimination isn't limited to the staff. Dr. Smith, Bobby Henderson, and Gene Ross have treated fellow board members with bias and are now threatening our children's sports programs. This is not leadership, it's abuse of power. The budget is a black box. We don't know. If positions were quietly absorbed into other salaries, where's the money? Which schools got the $1,500? Wyville didn't. How much in the grants did we lose? And why is the maintenance director, as much as I like him and love him, makes more than doctors of education? Who approved this? Who benefits from the secrecy from this board? Every time a leader makes a decision like this, it tells our students, families, and staff fairness is negotiable, transparency is an optional, and sometimes some voices just don't matter, and that is unacceptable. I'm calling on the board to act now, investigate these actions, remove Dr. Smith. I have people who are willing to come out, that are scared to come out, but will speak out, hold accountability for everyone involved, put in place clear and fair, transparent policies that protect every staff member and every student and every taxpayer dollar. Our schools should be a place of safety, integrity, and respect. Right now, they are not. It starts at the top, and tonight I'm asking that you lead with courage because our children and our community are watching. Thank you.
Ms. Mays, you handed out something for the meeting.
Would you like it?
These for me just now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, good. Hold up. That's my second stack. What I'm giving out is public records requests, which I'm encouraging everyone to complete and fill out. I also have one that I will be returning, tonight, asking for the director of schools. I'm sorry, it fell in. I don't have enough. Can y'all share? Okay. Director of schools contract, which seems to be a great secrecy right now. So we want to see that. We want to see emails between her and Mr. Henderson and Mr. Gene Ross. Anybody else that can spare one? We want transparency. And so I'm asking for everybody to fill out these public records requests and send them in to the Board of Education, please. Oh, I'm sorry.
We had 6 people that signed up, and I will ask them to speak in the order that they signed up. First is Jeff Herron. Herron.
Yes, sir.
And likewise, you will have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. Glad to be back in the community. With that being said, being back in the community, I have a lot of people reaching out because I'm an educator by trade. Everything from a teacher's assistant all the way up to an assistant superintendent. So people are reaching out in the community, talking about the inconsistency that's here. People are arguing, not getting along. I guess what she just said, some of the things that she just said. So these people that work, they're involved in it, they don't get to come to the important meeting where the decisions are being made. So I decided that I'm gonna start being a part of this process. So I started looking at the policies and started looking around to say, okay, how we do business. I was at a school board meeting about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to me. I actually got up and walked out. Kind of touched my feelings. I didn't think people were kind of pointing at each other, shooting at each other, and I just didn't think that was professional. So as I looked through these policies, I looked at the fact that the teachers are being evaluated, principals, everybody's evaluation, but we have one particular policy here, 1.103. I know everybody probably is familiar with that. That's the board self-evaluation. And my first thought was, how do you evaluate yourself? And I made some notes on here real quick. It talks about accountability and follow-up, but there's no real tangible thing inside of here to give any indication that anybody is doing anything about it. I would ask the following questions. I know we'll receive an answer. Is this policy active and in place? Is there any evidence of this for the public stakeholders? What rubric or evaluation system are we using? What are the strengths and weaknesses that come out of these? Going forward, what are we going forward in regards to the board, in regards to this? It says something about overall individual opinion, so if everybody's giving their individual opinion, then how is this, being dealt with? So I'm just curious, I'm gonna send a formal email out so I can get a response to see if we're doing this, if it's in place, and would like to be part of it, going forward in my community. But one thing they say is that you're not limited to a formal evaluation instrument, but if it's not formal, we know as educators, it's not valid, it's not reliable, then why are we doing it? It has no true purpose. So I'm looking over this and looking at other policies, reaching out to the people that are not gonna come to these meetings, not gonna speak up, and they kind of pushing me out there. So I just wanted to speak on this one policy tonight for everybody in the community, and then we'll go forward when I send the form to you. Thank you.
And Ms. Trina Patterson.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Trina Patterson, and I'm a product of the Hardeman County School System, and I also still have many family members there in Hardeman County Schools. I'm here tonight to address serious concerns regarding how the board exercises its authority, fulfills its duties, and adheres to its own policies. How specifically does the board ensure each member is actively representing the citizens who elected them? And does the state board's oversight role include holding you accountable for that representation? On transparency, when budget, personnel, and salary matters come before you, are members always given the complete facts before voting? Or have there been instances where you voted without full disclosure? Regarding compensation, principals were not given raises, but were given bonuses. These bonuses that reduced their retirement benefits. What was the justification, and which members cast their vote in favor? Is the chairman overstepping his authority? The chairman stated that there was no conflict of interest in Ms. Leah Knuckles, quote, fact-finding, end quote, employees about a hostile work environment, and this was seconded. Who seconded that clear violation? How many of the board's stated responsibilities are being carried fully out in practice right now? Does the board intend to terminate their attorney? Dr. Smith is using board employees as messengers to deliver threats, create fear of job loss or demotion. This is her message to whistleblowers or anyone who dares to speak out. Who exactly sits on this ethics committee? You were elected by the citizens. When they come forward to you, what concrete steps do you take to ensure their voices are heard and acted upon? Where can we find and complete unedited recordings, minutes, and agendas from all past meetings? When do you determine whether a meeting is safe and orderly, and what criteria do you use and who enforces them? Members of the board, these are not rhetorical questions. They are specific, policy-based, and the community expects clear, documented answers. The public's trust depends on your transparency, accountability, and adherence to the very rules you were sworn to uphold. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Lanier.
Hello, my name is Catherine Lanier, and I'm a product of the Hardeman County School System. My sister's a product of the Hardeman County School System. My daughter is a product of the Hardeman County School System. And I graduated during a time when my teachers were invaluable to me. I'm successful today because of the Hardeman County School System. So I'm here to talk about some of the issues that have come up through friends and current family members that I have who still have children and still have ties within the school system at different schools, whether it be Toon, whether it be Hornsby, whether it be Nicholson, or whether it be Bolivar. Through a public records request, I obtained data showing a concerning trend in staffing at Bolivar Middle School. In the 2021-22 academic year, BMS had 22.5 regular teachers. In 22 to the 23 school year, BMS had 20.5 regular teachers. Two positions, the positions that were lost, two were not refilled. One of the questions I have is who made that decision. In 2023 through 24, Bolivar Middle School, again, the teaching staff was reduced to 18.5 teachers. In the 2024 to 25 school year for Bolivar Middle School, again, teachers were reduced to 16.5, including a reduction to only one special ed teacher. Now, when we get to the 2025 to 26 school year, BMS was reduced to 14.5 teachers. This includes the loss of the librarian, who has not been replaced. Additionally, the guidance counselor was reassigned to the high school to teach from 7 a.m. to 9:45. Really strange hours. It was initially set for half a day until Ms. Katina Mays filed to be heard before this board. It is understandable that Ms. Sinclair wants to be at the school her daughter attends, but to move every time her daughter does is a privilege, only, of course, in my opinion. For Dr. Smith to make this happen with no concerns for BMS is mind-boggling. This is not just about numbers, it's about our students' access to education and support. This year's keynote speaker emphasized the importance of relationships and reading. Yet today, BMS currently has no librarian to foster a culture of reading and severely reduced staff to build those relationships. Dr. Smith has at times pointed to, quote, questionable data verbally, end quote, to justify these cuts, and has mentioned the possibility of selling BMS, formerly Bolivar Industrial, building to the highest bidder because maintenance cost was too high. Do not trust me, ask the board. She even suggested converting BMS into an elementary school. She appears to be methodically working towards this goal. I would ask if there are any true concerns about cost and enrollment. Why are we not discussing the consolidation possibly of Tune and Hornsby into BMS? Why is the current trajectory toward dismantling the middle school rather than strengthening it? The board owes it to the students, parents, and community to address these reductions transparently and to ensure that the decisions are made in the interest of students' education. Thank you.
Ms. Mays, you were down here, but you'd already spoke, so go ahead, Mr. Mays.
Excuse me? Do what? Oh. No, I signed up for public comment, so I get to speak again.
On the same subject you spoke on?
No, sir,
Okay. What do you want to speak on here?
I'm public, so I don't have to be, I'm
Okay,
gonna
just
speak
be on the
now.
agenda, yes, ma'am.
I was on the agenda, now I'm a
No,
public
what
speaker.
you speak on has to be on the agenda.
I signed up for public comment, and I'm on public comment right now. You're not following, you're trying to instruct policies, and you're not following policies. Your policy 1.40, if I was a citizen in the community, I would think this meeting would be on a Thursday, and y'all been meeting on Tuesdays for how long? How long? That policy's not updated. I went through all of y'all's policy. So, I'm here to speak on public. Clean house. Put to death therefore what is earthly, and in you sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desires, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account, this is the wrath of God. The wrath of God is coming. Our bodies are like houses that need to be regularly cleaned. We are going to attract a lot of flies if we don't take out the garbage. One person calls the Power Exterminating Service. They study the flight patterns of flies, try to determine their names and rank, and then cast them out. Those flies find 7 other flies and tell them where the garbage is. A second person calls the Negotiating Exterminating Service. They enter into a dialogue with flies, trying to extract information from them, seemingly unaware that they're all liars. While they're talking to the flies, the owner blanks out and lets the exterminator assume a responsibility for him. The third person calls the Heavenly House Cleaning Service. They ignore the flies and talk to the owner. Together, they clean out all the garbage that has attracted the flies, fill the place with the Holy Spirit, causing the flies to flee, and then they seal off all entry points. That's what I have to say.
Dr. Mays?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am blessed to be able to speak and have the ability to speak, and thank you for allowing me to. Most of y'all know me, I was born in Bolivar, I lived here for 4 years. I went through Bolivar schools, worked in the schools for 31 years, working on 31 years, hope I'll make it.
You will.
Played football at junior high. I used to walk from Bolivar junior high to my house, which is on that road, every day. When I sell that, I'm pretty I'm proud of where I am. Worked myself through college, got an opportunity. All 4
before my kids have gone to school in Boston. I told them to be proud of it too. But I hadn't figured out when we got to the point where one person is more important than everybody. I don't know where we made that turn, but I do know we have. I'm not sure why we value one person's value over others. I don't understand it. The board represents the community. You were elected by the community. You represent the community. The state may tell you, I don't know who's telling you, that you don't are part of the community, or that you don't have to talk to the community. How in the world do you take one person's perspective on everything, or two, or three? I don't understand that. You're elected by a group. You're elected by these people. These people. You represent them. You represent me. But how hard is it to get in there and talk to somebody? You want to make somebody snap? Anyway, I said all that to say that it's wrong. The state tells us apparently through training that we're not allowed to intervene into a fight. I don't know why. Probably because liability might get hurt. And somebody's got to pay some workman comp somewhere. But guess what? Guess what? If that's your grandson, and he's getting beat down by 3 other boys, or girls, or whatever it is, do you want me to intervene? I bet you do, and I'm going to. I don't care what the state tells me. I know to do the right thing. I've been taught to do the right thing by my parents and be respectful. So let me ask you this. If you work for me, or one of your children work for me, or your spouse work for me, and I didn't treat them with respect, and I constantly demean them, and I gave them false numbers to make them feel more pressure and be in a hostile work environment, for whatever reason that might be, lying with false numbers to put pressure on people, how would you feel? On your husband, your wife, your child, whoever?
Your time's up, Mr. Davis.
Okay.
You can sum it up.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the same parameters. You guys know this is going on. These people are here because they know things aren't right in the community. So, utilize more than one. Do your job. There's a quote: "Those who have authority and don't utilize it, that's the greatest sin." Thank you for allowing me to step over. Appreciate it.
And Ms. Brittany, anything?
I have no comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, is Mr. Hill here? Okay. Mr. Hill, I think he's gonna do a presentation on our lighting project that's going on in our school system. I'm sorry, I put my over.
All right. We just got some numbers that we wanted to present, tonight. We are looking at, some renovations and some options. And one of the options we wanted to look at, especially after the renovation at Bolivar High School, we wanted to look at possibly exchanging all of our fluorescent lighting to LED lighting. We found out at Bolivar Central that we were about 33-foot candles, which is the way you measure lighting, and the national average is 40. So after we converted everything during that renovation, it bumped our foot candles up to 44. And sometimes it's hard to realize that unless you actually have the meter to prove it. But we have 2 companies that's interested in doing that. And we can do anything from just swapping bulbs to bulbs for a price of $446,830, all the way up to, in the halls and office areas, convert them to a little nicer looking light for $751,969. And we just wanted to make you aware of those numbers, so that there could be some consideration for that project.
Is that, I got a question, where'd you get, you bid those numbers out?
Well, I didn't bid them, I just got quotes from people that do it every day. One of them is the same company that did the renovation at Bolivar High, and then another company just does lighting. out of Nashville.
I know when we did that Siemens grant, it's probably been 10 to 15 years ago, where they came in and replaced all of our lighting, where everything was exactly the same. Is this gonna kind of get us off of that, where we're gonna be like, some are gonna be certain way, and some are not gonna be?
Now, this will put us 100% LED, and that's a little bit of our problem, is 13 years ago, when we did that Siemens project, they reduced every fluorescent from a 32 watt to a 25 watt. So now we're operating with a 13-year-old 25 watt fluorescent, which is not giving us 25 watts anymore. So that's why our lighting has gotten so dim. But just like then, they converted everything to one bulb, and this will do the same thing, it will convert everything to one bulb.
Just a bright light.
Yeah, just a much brighter light.
These figures that you gave us, these are for all 9 schools?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's with the exception of Oliver High, because that renovation project covered that. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Next, we have our committees, and I think we have 2 committees that met this month. Our budget committee, which met yesterday, and Mr. Ross. You have that.
Yes, I have that. It's gonna be rather lengthy, as you know. Have a lot of what we call cleaning up with our budgets to do as you end a fiscal year. That's where we're at right now. Lisa and them do a real good job of forecasting, but still some things have to be, pinpointed and changed as we get our actual numbers. The first is kind of an unusual thing. It's a budget without any money involved in it, but it pertains to our ACT payments for our students on behalf of the state. And what they do is, without the money, we have to budget an amount that we think that they will be sending us on behalf of our students. And then in July, they will send us the actual numbers, and we have to budget that. Board members, if you look at your packets, I'm gonna go through this fairly rapidly, but that's the first budget that we need to consider is TISA payments on behalf of our students for ACT, $73,331.66. The next budget pertains to the Perkins grant. It's a vocational education grant, and it's been with us for a long time, and I would say it's a very welcome grant, very, I think, easy to manage, and they simply, provide funds for us for our vocational program. And for instructional supplies and materials, you see the figures there from your packet, vocational equipment, for in-service and staff development, things of that nature. And it was for $86,662.78. The next budget pertains to transportation, and I think it is simply pertaining to 3 regular buses. We were told that they would be running $135,000 apiece, but when we get the actual figures, it's $140,000, and so this budget reflects that change for the additional expenditure on the buses. And I believe we need to stop and take those to the budgets. They come as a recommendation from the budget committee.
But the buses, that's not gonna come out of general purpose, is it?
And, yes, throw a little, it comes to a recommendation from the budget committee, but I don't think the price of the buses are gonna be going down, from what we hear. From 140,000, they're gonna be going north, so we'll be facing that in the future.
We've got a recommendation from the budget committee for the TISA payments, Carl Perkins budget, and the moving the money around for the buses and general purpose budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Swift. Any discussion on that? Any questions for Mr. Ross or Dr. Smith? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Ross.
Okay, the next one, is from the centralized cafeteria fund. And these next set of, amendments, what we're actually doing is confirming the, actions that were taken by the executive committee. And, if you look at your figures, the first figure, has to do with medical insurance. Now, a lot of these budgets, you're gonna see an increase where it comes to medical insurance. And this is one of the things, that as a result of the board, whenever we agreed to absorb the increase in medical coverage, then it's naturally increased our budget. And in this particular case right here on this budget, the, increase is the nature of $5,000. If you do have any questions, I'm gonna, like I said, kind of go through them pretty quickly, but Lisa's here. She's, her and her committee do an excellent, job, but they don't have a crystal ball, but, they've done an excellent job of getting us close to the finish line for the fiscal year. The next one, the next budget is, federal as well, subfund 901. And some of the main things from this particular budget, changes, as you know, we had a change in special, education director kind of after the mid-year. Some of those, changes are a reflection of that. But if you look on down toward the bottom of your sheet there, close to 727.10, 146, those, next lines have to do with special ed drivers and ride-alongs. So there is quite a bit of an increase there, and that's a reflection of that. Bus drivers, ride-alongs, kind of the transportation. Okay, the next budget, amendment is, from subfund 911, has to do with, contracts with private agencies, and I don't think there's much to be said about that. They, decided that they were gonna cut us $39. I don't know if we even know what for them that, but anyway, it's a reduction of $39. The next, has to do with, it's a federal, amendment also, subfund 101. And, this is reflected, the changes come mainly from 2 or 3 of our schools deciding to, use Title I funds or employ more teacher assistants. You see, that increased, our budget, and that reflection significantly. First one was $20,000 increase to a mini budget of $145,000. Once again, medical insurance appears, as an increase. And once again, I'll say that's because the board decided to absorb the increase, a portion of the increase instead of passing it all on to our employees. And down at the bottom of that budget, in-service and staff development is a significant increase as well. That increase to the tune of $18,020.20. Those are the main things pertaining to subfund 101. The next budget is also federal, and it's subfund 441. Again, sound like a broken record, but the main thing is because of the medical increase and us absorbing that. So we added $10,000 to this budget for medical coverage. The next one is also federal, and it's subfund 601. And I guess mainly, main thing about that is instructional supplies went up. It was increased to the tune of $7,052.64. So additional allocations on that budget amounts to $8,226.42. All right, the next one is our Gear Up, and we are glad to have the Gear Up program back. But Gear Up has no carryover, and one of the things that made changes necessary on this is that one of our people that we had employed had health issues and was not able to, to live up to the commitments and do the job. So we had to shift funds around in order to keep from losing that money. And you will see that we mainly decreased the salary and benefits due to that and put it into other supplies and materials. That's from the Gear Up program. Any questions so far for Lisa? All right, let me catch your breath and go to the general purpose fund. And it has several pages to it, as you can see as well. I think the first category, and I'm just going to hit the categories. Once again, if you have any questions, please stop me. But I think it has to do the 73,400 and so forth with pre-K. You see that it was increased in instructional supplies and so forth. A lot of the increases are minor. I'll just say that Monica does a good job of spending her money. She's not going to leave any money on the table. The next one, 70 that I mentioned is the 7,100, and this is a regular instruction budget. And I think the main changes in that budget were a result of choosing to not pay some of our special education teachers from this fund. Is that correct, Lisa?
On the summer school portion,
Yes.
we chose to pay the special education teachers who taught in summer school out of our regular general purpose fund
So
in
we
order
did.
to help us meet the maintenance of every day's required.
Okay. So it's just a matter of changing our mind on the pot that they were gonna be paid from. Skipping on down to the, I guess the bottom down there, there's about with substitute teachers or non-certified substitute teachers. Seems, this is vocational education, and even in vocational education, we failed to budget enough for our non-certified teachers for that category that was increased in the amount of $1,900. The next page, 72,120 is our health services category. And if I remember correctly on that, Lisa was buying more defibrillators, which is a very good thing. But it ended up costing us more for those. The cost had gone up more than we had realized, and so that category had to be increased. Skip it on down to the 72,220. This is special ed, and it's mainly clean up there. And we decreased the contracts with private agencies, and you can see that our salary of our supervisor director there was an increase in that, I guess. The next category is Board of Education expenses. We've had additional meetings that became necessary and things of that nature. Workman's comp went up, as you can see. So that is the explanation for that particular thing. Legal services, things of that nature. The next category, the 72,320, is this is a significant thing there is $1,000 for career ladder for our director of schools. The next one is gonna have to come out of fund balance electricity. You see the increase for that, water and sewer, boiler insurance, all those things that Randy has to deal with on a daily basis. The next one, maintenance department, laundry service. The main thing, I guess, is extra on next one is transportation, and in that, you will see the main thing is, once again, the insurance is up on that. And then the last one, thank goodness, is, only $120 increase, and this has to do with being short on paying out one of our clerical employees. I think that's it, and if there are no questions, that does come as a recommendation from the budget committee.
Okay, the recommendation is to make changes to the centralized cafeteria, sub 901, sub 911, sub 101, 441, 601, 961, and all the changes that were made to the general purpose. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Ross, Dr. Smith, and Ms. Higgs? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else, Mr. Ross?
No.
I'm assuming the insurance committee met, Mr. Carter? Okay, why don't you have it then?
The insurance committee met several times. Our goal was to review the dental and vision plans that we currently offer to the employees. We wanted to see if there were any better plans with better coverages. Keep in mind, these plans are employee paid plans. And we had heard some concerns from the employees about the max benefit that is currently offered by our dental. So for dental, we looked at Delta Dental, State Dental, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Guardian, and MetLife. We reached out to Delta Dental, who is our current vendor, to inquire if they offered a different tier plan with better coverage and a higher max benefit. Another consideration that we looked at was the dentists that our employees currently use, would they be in the network? Delta Dental, with Delta Dental, that would not be an issue. That's who we currently have. Delta Dental was able to offer a better plan with a higher max benefit of $1,500 versus $1,000, which is what we currently have. The premium for the employee would only go up, for employee only, from $30.24 to $33.24. So it was a minor increase with a much bigger buck on the difference in the coverages. For family, it would go up from $77.30 to $85.11. However, the max benefit for this plan is $1,500 per year. The committee recommends that we stay with Gallagher, which is Delta Dental. However, the new and accept the new tier plan of $1,500 max with the increased premium. We also looked at, do you want to do them separately or all together? Vision is next.
Probably separate, yeah.
Separate, okay. So the committee has requested that the board accept Delta Dental's plan that will give the employees a $1,500 max with a minimal amount of the premium increase.
Okay. I have a second on that. Second from Mr. Ford. Any questions for Mr. Carter or anybody on the insurance committee? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Now, these documents are in your packets, so if you want to look at the minute details, you're welcome to it. And Mr. Ford and Ms. Ayler is part of the committee, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. The committee also reviewed the current vision plan, and we met with Bolivar Insurance, and our current plan is Blue Cross Blue Shield. We requested that they present us with some tiered plans so our employees could make the right options based on their family needs. And if you'll look in your packet, with the different, quotes that they gave us, the committee chose quote 51 and quote 53 as two different options for the staff. These two options would give the employee to choose what works best for them and their family, with minimum premium change from as little as 40 cents to $2. The overall coverage is much better. The committee recommends that we stay with Bolivar Insurance and Blue Cross Blue Shield Vision and offer the employees the two-tier approach.
Do I have a second? That comes as a recommendation from the insurance committee. Second by Mr. Davis. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Thank you and the insurance committee, and thank Mr. Ross and the budget committee meeting this past month. And at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Smith for the director's report.
All right, the first thing is to look at some score data that we have received. Some of it is coming in slowly, some of it's still embargoed, but there are a lot of bright spots and celebrations that we still have. Again, our met and exceeded expectations, which is our proficiency rate for the entire district, saw improvement. This is the first time we've ever had green across the board. And just from 2024 to 2025, you can see that we had an overall increase average of from 19.3 to 22.5. So that's something that we are proud about and proud of and celebrating. We have some single year composite numbers coming out there. As you know, level 3 is rock solid, and that's one of our strongest points, so we're proud of that one. Celebrations, we have gone through this morning. We had a meeting with the school principals and instructional coaches, dug into a lot of data, looked at bright spots, looked at spots that we needed to look into, and found some celebrations. We also have some historical data there. As you can see, the increases in ELA, math, science, and social studies. Accountability, we do have our chronic absenteeism, which, as we all know, it is very difficult to make kids come to school. The parents the job, and it's difficult for schools to manage sometimes, but we also did a really good job in that area. In your packets, you have a timeline for accountability releases. As you can see, sometime in October, November, we're going to have school district data accountability and designations come out. November, December, we will have federal designations and the state letter grades come out. So we still have several pieces of data left to come to us this semester. This is just some tidbits of information that, as board, you need to be aware of. The ACT test is evolving, it's changing. It is going to be a lot fewer questions, 44 fewer questions it says. And the composite score is going to be after 125 minutes of testing, not 195. And all of you in here who have taken ACT, you know that can be a very daunting task and test. And it's something that all of our students have to take, but it's also important for them because it can get them some opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have. They are also, I believe, and it's not on this, going to remove the requirement of science and social studies, or the science part particularly, and focus on the ELA and math. So just tidbits of information that test is going to be changing and look a little different. So when your kid or your niece or nephew tells you that they didn't have to take the science part, you don't believe them, they're probably right. I have also included in your packet a very lengthy list of required trainings for local education agencies that are required by law. And once you get in there, you will see how extensive it is. We hear, especially at the beginning of school, so many times, how many trainings these teachers and principals and we have to go through. It's training after training. This list is the minimum required by law. This is not something this board set up here and came up with. So you have those just for your reference. Personnel update, as you can see there, we have hard, solid data on how many teacher attritions we've had, how many TA positions we have had open, how many we have attrited, and currently we have 3 teacher assistant vacancies. 2 of those came as late as today. So that's the personnel update. Relating to what Randy was talking about, on August the 19th, we're going to take these campus visits. And the lighting project, we wanted to bring to you tonight so that you have those quotes and that information to start studying, because it is a big portion of what we're looking at in terms of our capital improvement planning. As we've talked, we still have some roof restorations that need to be done, restroom upgrades, windows, ballistic resistant film, paint, flooring, asphalt. We still have a lot of needs. But we wanted to bring that to you because it could be a significant portion of that, so we're gonna have to make a decision when we look at these campuses, prioritize what our needs are going to be. We also have the list that we gave you last month updated with new estimates on what we have. We still don't have them all. But investing in the improvement of school facilities is more than just updating buildings. Our buildings are, most of them, the earliest ones, or I'm sorry, the newest ones were built in the 70s. So we had some very aging old buildings, but at the same time, it can be, the physical environment reflects care and excellence, and it sends a message to the community as far as how we work with them. So those campus tours are going to be on August the 19th, beginning at Middleton High School at 8:30. We will have the van here leaving at 8 o'clock. Ayers Foundation, we have those people in place. It is up and running. Again, a huge opportunity for our students. They help our students from the beginning through college and even after college sometimes. So this is a huge asset to a lot of our students. Just some Facebook things that I pulled off that they put on since school began. I want to send a shout out to Bolivar Energy Authority. They wanted to do a community project and chose Bolivar Central sports programs to give a certain number of dollars to each one of those to help them get kick-started. We have a new girls basketball coach there, Mr. Nick Beauregard, and the yearbook received the Walsworth Gallery of Excellence Award again this year, and that is like their 50th one. They've had a bunch of them, so we're really kind of proud of the work they do. Bolivar Elementary had a lot of fun. They even managed to get former assistant principal Teresa Kirk to come back and give them some motivation. The first day of school, they had a lot of community service and workers out there helping greet students and helping them get through that first day. Grand Junction Elementary had a big back-to-school supply drive, and there were a lot of community members involved there. And on the bottom right, you can see students were starting the week of instruction off making volcanoes. Hornsby Elementary, on the left, you can see that's their new doors that they received toward the end of last school year, but what a difference it makes. Gear Up is starting in all of our schools again, and all of our schools have completed their Meet the Teacher audits. Again, there's Meet the Teacher at Middleton Elementary, and on the right back here, the crew likes to dress up for the kids, and I love it. Middleton High School, and both high schools, the cell phone changes that they put in place and procedures has gone really well. Huge thanks to the parents for being supportive of that. We were really, really pleasantly surprised with the support we got for that. Their staff did some team building during professional development, and they also had open house. Toon had their back to school celebration, and Whiteville has their staff pictures, and they did a dance coming in through that and had some good food and some good times. Vision and mission. Our vision of Hardeman County Schools is to provide a high-quality education in a safe, respectful, and inclusive environment that builds a foundation for lifelong learning. These foundations include academics, social-emotional skills, technological competencies, and career awareness. And that is all I have. I will say that I hope the community listens, and I hope the community realizes that there's two sides to every story. That's all I have.
Does anybody have anything else?
I do.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. Here's my request for a copy of her contract public records.
I got a second. Second, Mr. Ross, all in favor, say aye.